Hello, this is Patrick at OneCNC West, and welcome to our very first part workshop video. In this video, we're going to be creating this part from the very beginning. We're going to start with wireframe geometry, then I'm going to show you how you can easily extrude that wireframe geometry into a solid model. We'll then demonstrate how we can easily add fillets, and then we'll take a look at shelling the part. Then using a construction plane, we're going to create a circle for that hole. We'll then cut the hole into the solid model, and then we're going to finish the video by creating the chamfer that goes on those holes. Okay, so let's get started. Let's begin by taking a look at the print for this project. I'm going to click here. Here's the print. Let's zoom in just a little bit. We're going to be using these dimensions to create the part. Now, taking a look at this, I think the easiest thing to do is really just create this boundary right here, this shape. And once we create the shape, we'll extrude it into our solid model. Let's keep it simple. Let's create this shape without the fillets. All right, so if we look at our dimensions, we can see that the width here is really 4 inches and the height is 3 inches. So we can start this by creating a rectangle that's 4 inches long by 3 inches tall. Let's do that. Let's head back over here. What we're going to do is head over to the main toolbar. We're going to select our line category. Within there, we're going to select rectangle. When you create a rectangle, you're really defining two opposing diagonal corners. Well, the first corner is going to be at x0, y0. So I'm just going to left click right there on the datum. And then over here within the coordinate input, for x, I'm going to type in 4. And for y, I'm going to type in -3. That's defining the second opposing diagonal corner. We'll click OK to that. Right hand mouse click, and there we go. Very good. There's the very beginning of our part. Let's go back to the print now. That looks good. Now what we want to do is create this diagonal line. Now in this example, the diagonal line, the angle is being referenced off this theoretical vertical line, and you can see it's 60 degrees. Well, in most CAD systems as well as OneCNC, the angle of a diagonal line is really measured off the horizon. In other words, measured off of a theoretical horizontal line. So for 60 degrees measured off a vertical line, the angle measured off a horizontal line would be 30 degrees. So we want to create a 30-degree diagonal line. Now the beginning of this line starts at this dimension here, and you can see that from the bottom left-hand corner, it's measured up 2 inches, and it's right at x0. So for us to create this, remember our datum's up here up the top. We want this diagonal line to start at y-1 inch, x0. So let's build that. Let's head back over here. Let's go into our line tool, and we know that it's going to be at x0. So I can go right down here to the y coordinate. I'm going to type in -1. And I'm going to click OK, and that defines the start point. Now I can type in the angle of 30 degrees. Remember, that's measured off the horizon. Take my cursor into the drawing area, just come anywhere over here, left-hand mouse click, and then right-click. That looks great. And then when you're done, you can right-click one more time. Now what we want to do now is trim. Let's head back over here to the main toolbar. Here's our trim tools, and the best one to use is Trim 2. Trim 2 is very simple in that you're going to be selecting two entities, and you want to select the portion of the entity that you want to keep. All right, so in this example, I want to keep this portion of the vertical line. I don't want to keep that. I want to keep this portion, so I'm going to left click, and I want to keep this portion of the diagonal line. Very simple. Let's repeat the process up here for this trim. I want to keep that portion, so left click. I want to keep that portion of that line, left click, and when we're done, right hand mouse click. Very, very good. So I'm going to rotate this by holding down the middle mouse button and just rotate our view just a little bit. That looks great. And the next thing we want to do now is we want to extrude this into a solid. If we come back here to our print, we can see that we really want to extrude this 4 inches in this direction. All right, so we can easily do that by coming over here, and let's go into our extrude tools. What you want to do is you want to use this option called Extrude Curves. Extrude Curves will allow you to select a simple closed boundary. That's what we have here, and we can extrude that into a solid. So I'm going to left click, take your cursor, and you can left click anywhere you want on the boundary. I'm going to left click right there. Once you've done that, you can see it selected. It all turns red there. Just right-hand mouse click, and now you can dynamically move your mouse backwards and forwards. That gives you the ability to extrude in the positive direction and in the negative direction. We want to extrude negative -4 inches. So where it says height here, I'm going to type in -4, and then just take your cursor into the drawing area, left click to execute the command, right-hand mouse click to finish. And there we go. There is our solid model. Really simple to do, and our model is looking great. Now let's put the fillets on here. So let's head back over to our print. We can see that in the upper right hand corner, that fillet is actually 1 inch. These 3 fillets here are 0.75. And I also believe that this fillet right here along the top is also 0.75. So let's put those in. So let's head back over here and let's go back to our main toolbar. We're going to select our model tools and we're going to select fillet. Now for the very first fillet we want 1 inch. So where it says radius we're going to type in 1. We'll click OK. Notice how our solid model turns translucent. That way we can select any edge that we want. I'm going to left click that edge there, right hand mouse click to execute the command, and there you go. There's a 1 inch radius put on there very easily. Now let's put the remaining 0.75 fillets on there. Let's change that to 0.75. We'll click OK, and I'm just going to left click these 3 edges as well as the edge along the top, and then right hand mouse click. And there we go. That looks very, very good. Now the last fillet I want to put on here is the fillet that goes all the way around the top there. And that's going to be a 0.375, I believe. Let's go back in and double check that. Yep, it's a 0.375 fillet that goes all the way around. So let's put that on there. We'll go back into fillet. We're going to change this to 0.375. We're going to click OK to that. And then you can just left click anywhere you want along the boundary. I'm going to left click right there, right hand mouse click, and there we go. Now, we no longer need this blue geometry. The fastest way to select that really would be come up here, select by color, just left click blue, click OK, then hit the delete key on the keyboard. So our solid model is looking really well. What we want to do now though is we want to rotate this so that it's in the correct orientation. If I hit the spacebar twice, that takes us to a top view, and you can see that we want to rotate this. Now to rotate something within OneCNC, or if you want to move something or mirror it, you need to select it first. The easiest way to select everything on the screen is simply just hit Control A, Control Alpha on your keyboard, or if you want you can select that option there. That will do exactly the same thing. With that geometry selected, we're going to go to Rotate. I'm going to select the Rotate tool. Now down here it says pick position to rotate around. Well, you can really pick anywhere you want. I'm just going to use the datum though. So I'm going to left click the datum, and then over here on the left within the main toolbar for X rotation, I'm going to type in 90 and then click OK. All right, now that's looking good. I think the only thing I want to do now is I want to move that part down, because right now here's our datum, our X0, Y0, Z0. For manufacturing purposes, I'm probably going to want that in the upper left-hand corner. So let's take this part and let's move it down 4 inches. So remember, your geometry needs to be selected first, which it is. We can see it's red there. Let's go into our Move tool, and we want to move that incrementally in Y down 4 inches. Now here's your incremental input. If you don't see your incremental input, just simply click on the plus ink button and that will expand the menu down to where you can see this. Now for Y, I'm going to type in -4 inches, and then we're going to click OK to that. And that looks very good. Let's deselect everything by clicking this button, and let's take a look at what we have. That looks great. Now what we want to do now is we want to shell this. This is very easy to do, and let me demonstrate how we can do that. All right, now to shell this, we're going to come over to the main toolbar, and we're going to come down here to our model tools, and there we're going to find our option called shelling. Let's select that, and let's take a look at the parameters here. We want to shell inwards, and for the settings we want a wall thickness of 150 thousandths, and I definitely want to remove a face, so I have this option checked here. So let's click OK. I'm going to rotate the view by holding the middle mouse button, move my mouse. That's the face I want to remove. So I'm going to left click that face and then right hand mouse click to execute the command. And there we go. We have a nice shell, and this thickness here is 150 thousandths. We can confirm that by going back to our print, and you can see here definitely we have a wall thickness of 150 thousandths. Very, very good. All right, now what we want to do next is we want to put the hole in. So let's go to a front view. Okay, so we're going to put this hole in right here, but you're going to notice that the hole is actually dimensioned from the lower right hand corner right down here. So what our goal is we need to create a construction plane that has its origin right here. It's X0, Y0, Z0, so we can place this hole exactly where we want it. Okay, let me show you how we can do that. Let's head back over here, and what we want to do is create a construction plane on this face. So before I do any of this, I'm going to create a point, and the point that I create is going to be the location of the datum of the construction plane. Now, right now, you can see in this lower right-hand corner, there's no point. There's really nothing I can grab a hold of. So a real easy way to create this point is just snap it right here on that vertice right there. And then if I select that point by hitting the letter S on the keyboard, left-hand mouse click, and then if I go into the Move tool, I can incrementally move that to the right 750 thousandths. Why am I going 750 thousandths? Well, simply because that is the radius of the fillet we put on there. So if I go to a front view, let's go to a front view by hitting the space bar. We'll go to front view. You can see that that point is exactly where we want our new construction plane to be. Okay. All right, let's head over here to our construction plane tools. It's located in the lower left-hand corner. All these options at the top of the dialog box, these allow you to define or modify a construction plane, and these are the available construction planes or default construction planes that are available for every brand new project or part file. Okay, let's use this option right here to create a construction plane from 3 points. This is going to allow us to designate the origin. This is going to be the X0, Y0, Z0. The next point I digitize becomes X positive, and the third point I digitize becomes Y positive. Now remember, I've already designated my X0, Y0 and my X positive, so I can really snap any one of these points right here to be Y positive. I'd get the exact same results. I'm going to left click that one right there, and now we have a brand new construction plane. Let me show you that. Let's go back into our construction plane tools, and I'm going to tell OneCNC to show the current construction plane, and I'm also going to tell OneCNC to use the brand new coordinate system. That's going to also display our little datum marker down there. Let's click OK. Okay, perfect. So there's our construction plane and there's the datum. Well, you might be asking, well, why didn't I just digitize that point as the location for our brand new construction plane? Well, I could have, but remember, I need to select 3 points, and there's nothing here over on the right in which I could have selected for my X positive. So instead, I used the geometry already available on the solid model to first get the construction plane created and orientated. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back into my construction plane tools, and I'm going to say move the construction plane by using that tool right there. Now I can simply snap that point, and now that construction plane is exactly where we want it. Let's go to our front view, and you can see that's perfect. Now that lines up with our print. If we come over here, I can now define that circle and make sure that it's properly located. All right, let's do that. Let's head back over here. Let's go back to our main toolbar. We're going to select our arc command. From there, we're going to select circle, and I already have a diameter in there of 1 inch 250 thousandths. Now, when it comes to locating the circle, make sure you use this column here on the right, underneath where it says on plane. That makes sure that all these dimensions are going to be referenced to the current construction plane. All right. So for the X dimension, that's going to be minus 2 inches. Remember, it's going to be located from that datum right there. So X minus 2 inches. The Y value is going to be an inch 125 thousandths. That's perfect. And the Z value is going to be 0. That looks very good. So I'm going to click OK to that. Right hand mouse click to finish, and there you go. We can see that we've created that circle, and it's properly positioned reference to our construction plane. Now let's use that circle to cut the holes through the part. Very simple. Let's go back over here. Let's go back into our extrude tools, and this time we're going to use extrude cut. That allows us to select a closed boundary and perform a solid model function. In this case, we're going to be cutting. So I'm going to left-hand mouse click. Once I do that, I can move my cursor right or left. I'm going to move it all the way over here. Left-hand mouse click, and there you go. There's the hole that's been cut through the solid model. That's looking good. We're going to right-hand mouse click to finish the command. We no longer need that blue geometry. So let's use our select by color, left click blue, click OK, hit the delete key on the keyboard. And the last thing we need to do is create the chamfers. All right, so let's head back over here, main toolbar. We're going to go back into our model tools. We're going to select fillet, but this time we're going to use the chamfer option. And that chamfer value is going to be 50 thousandths. I'll type in 50. We'll click OK. I'm simply going to left click that edge. And because our model is translucent, I can easily come over here and left click that edge, right hand mouse click, and there we go. There's the 50 thousandths chamfer. We no longer need to use that construction plane. Let's go back here to our construction plane tools, and let's go back to default, and we're going to uncheck these two options and click the close button, and there we go. There's our part. Very easy to create, very straightforward. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if it helped you out, please click on the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thanks again for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.